Welcome back to Roundtable Talks. I'm David, and today we're here with Jason Chin. Jason, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me, David.
Yeah, you know Jason, and obviously we go back, way back.
That's right.
To our home life days.
Yes, of course.
You know, second generation realtor.
That's right. That's right.
Worked with Jason's mom for quite a few years. Now, Jason, what do you find is your biggest challenge that you're facing right now in your career?
Well, the challenge I'm facing right now is that, we've gone through a transitional period in the market over the last year or so, but we're now getting back to what we're used to, and that being a seller's market again.
Yeah.
The challenge right now that I face is that, making sure that my clients are up to date with the market activity and being realistic. It's easy to look up on realtor.ca and see what the prices that people are listing at to say, hey, that's the actual price that they're looking for, when really that's just a strategy, right?
Yeah.
In some cases are
and that is a big hurdle to overcome. I think a lot of buyers, when they see a $999 price tag, and it's going for $1.4, it's something to it's an education process, I guess, and that you have to go through.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at that particular situation, it's up to your agent, that does the market research to put the market data in front of you to help convince you to bridge that gap, to help to convince the buyer or seller to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And that's one of the challenges I'm facing now. Because of the transition last year, it's easy for buyers to look at what properties were going for back in November and applying that to today's market, which in actuality is very much different, and we all know.
Yeah, I mean, the last 12 to 14 months, 15 months, I would say, it's been drastic swings from pricing going one way, then it's going the other way. Rates are going up, then they're being held, and it's. I guess there's been a lot of uncertainty on which way the market will go, but overall, I would say we've maintained a pretty stable market.
Yes, I agree with that.
There's been swings back and forth, but overall, I think pricing has kind of leveled off to a certain degree.
That's right. And Dave, to that point, like in my 10 years of being a realtor, it's very rarely we see it being a buyer's market, right?
Yeah.
There's a few months here or there. That being, when COVID first hit, there was some uncertainty with the market there, so we saw sort of leveling off.
Right.
And then last year, of course, unprecedented raises in interest rates caused buyers to be on the sidelines, sellers to sort of put a hold onto their plans. But those are short-lived in this market. We've seen
for sure.
We're very persistent. I mean, the Toronto market's resilient to those types of market pressures, and we're seeing that again in this case. Even with last year's super aggressive interest rate hikes, we're back to a normal market again that we're used to in Toronto. Yeah. And that's, multiple offers in every situation pretty much now that I'm seeing.
Yeah, back for a tough go for a lot of the buyers.
Yeah, and it's back to being a seller's market again, I think.
Jason, you mentioned 10 years in the business.
Yes.
What is the most important thing or lesson that you have learned over your 10 years career?
First off, to be receptive to your client's needs. This is a huge transaction, and they don't go through it every day. Versus we see it every day, right, Dave? So it's making sure that you walk through that process with them every step of the way, and that their emotions and their feelings are considered as you're stepping through them. And making sure that you always conduct yourself in a professional, integral, and with integrity when you're presenting your strategy, whether it's buying or whether it's selling. Making sure you leave no stone unturned, so that they are comfortable with the process. So it's walking through the process and making sure that they have everything they need to make the most educated decision they can. Which indeed, this is one of the most, if not the largest transaction they'll ever make.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I think with dealing with that and also the differing personalities of your buyers or sellers, what do you find for you is the most important personality trait that you would have as an agent in order to, I guess, help be successful in dealing with your client's journey?
I think integrity. I think that if your agent trusts you and you conduct yourself in a professional manner and you've given them all of the information, whether it's good information, whether it's good news or bad news, they need to hear it in order to make an educated decision. In some cases, the bad news isn't the news they want to hear, but
Right.
you have to tell them.
And I think that's very important, Jason.
Yeah.
I think overall, like, you know, in order to build trust, it's not a contest to be liked or not liked. Obviously that's important, but I think it's more important to have that integrity and the fact that they believe that you're looking after their interests and that believe that you'll be able to do a good job for them.
That's right.
Yeah. What piece of advice would you give, again, 10 years in the business, what piece of advice would you give to new agents coming into the business as of today? 10 years ago, I think the landscape was much, much different. Not only do we have many more agents on the real estate board that makes competition tougher for that buyer or seller, but technology has changed quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, what sort of advice would you give to any new agent coming into the market?
Just say be resilient. I mean, starting out is always tough. You have to build a name for yourself. So, but by building a name for yourself, you have to put in the time and the effort to help build your brand, making sure that you build a customer base that trusts you, and you know you can even draw on referrals on those types of early transactions, and just stick with it. You know, there's good times and bad.
Yeah.
You know, in Toronto, we're fortunate enough to have more better times than not.
Right.
But when those ebbs and flows, you know, don't go your way like they did in 2022, which was a quiet year for me. You know, making sure that you keep a positive perspective and keep in touch with your clients.
Now, do you operate your business mostly on referral?
Mostly on referral, yeah, mostly on referral. I mean, this has been one of my most busiest months the last month or so, and a couple of those were referrals. So that's where I typically get my business.
Which I think that's a good way to start and not even start to build a business off the referrals, because I think that's where the majority of most agents get their business, I would think.
Yeah, and also to tap into your colleagues that have experience. Like Dave, you've been instrumental in mentoring me, so I appreciate all the help you've given me. And you know, don't be afraid to ask questions of your colleagues or your broker. You know, good things to find a broker that's supportive of you and is accessible, to make sure that if you do have questions that come up, and they can come up on a moment's notice, right?
At any point in time.
Yeah, and you've always been receptive to any of my questions, no matter what time of day it is, Dave, and I appreciate that. So that's the type of things you want to look for, the support. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make it happen.
For sure.
You know, like in Toronto, it's a super aggressive, cutthroat real estate market, one of the most cutthroat in the world.
Yeah.
You have to be ready to jump in on deals or showings. You know, you get that preemptive offer that comes in on a showing.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to drop everything and jump in if your client has done, their homework and got prepared, and you never know.
And that could be one of the misconceptions coming into the business, is that there's not as much time that you're really at the mercy of your client's time.
Yeah.
And the way this market has gone, there's, a property's here today, gone tomorrow, and you don't have time to say, hey, we'll see it next week or we'll see it the week after.
Yeah.
Like you said, you got to drop and go.
Yeah, that's right. And it always happens when we're doing something right with the family or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like listings can say they're holding for offers, but that can change if a really strong offer comes in. The seller could change their mind and hold offers a couple days early. So you got to be ready to jump in and make sure that you've done your homework, and you've communicated everything to your client so that they're prepared to jump in as well. So
yeah, I think once the more information that they have, the more comfort level they have in the decision that they're making when they're placing an offer or selling their house.
That's right.
Anyways, Jason, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Until next time, guys, remember to hit subscribe on this channel and like. Have a good day.